The first thing we need to do is just switch gears in our head that, gosh, we have moved into the latter part of the fall. We're seeing different weather. Even if we get a break in that and it starts out as a nice day, you just want to think ahead that it could end up looking like anything by the end of the day. Colder, wetter, a lot more snow. So make sure if you're headed out, even for a short time, to have some key things in your pack. Things like a fire starter. That kind of seems silly when you think you're heading out for a day hike, but there have been many examples of people who wish they had had that around, and that could have made the difference between really uncomfortable or a really life-threatening situation and something that just, they could get through and wait it out. So have a fire starter, have a signal, something you can use to signal for help if you need to. Make sure you have layers with you, and make sure you have enough food to last longer than you think you're going to be out there. Also, of course, let somebody know your plan. This is especially important if you're going alone, but it's even important if you're heading out with a buddy, because you guys both could end up in a situation where you need help. And so having someone at home that's going to look into what's going on if you're not back by a certain time and know where to look is a really valuable thing.
Now, Vivica, what happens if we're out there and we do indeed get lost? We have no idea where we are.
Well, boy, the first thing you want to do is just stop and regroup. And this is a concept that we talk about in our hunter ed classes in the survival section. And so we want people to really learn this early on, and in the context of hunting, but also in anything else you're doing outdoors. Stop, take a few deep breaths, just try to kind of regain some clarity about the things you do know, make some observations, and stay in that spot unless you really have another plan, unless you realize that you have certain very concrete things that can lead you out of there, because sometimes people really get into trouble by continuing to wander and get lost. So establish some shelter, make sure you have that heat source, and then you can kind of sit and think about, okay, what next?
Now, how about, I realize, especially for folks who are maybe new to this, how do you keep from panicking and doing something stupid?
It is hard to do. It really is, because you get in that situation and all of a sudden I think your mind starts to wander to all the worst case scenarios. But again, if you just stop, take some deep breaths, and if you've taken the proper proactive approaches, you know somebody at a certain point is going to check in on you. You know you have those things in your pack that are going to get you through, even though it might not be the ideal situation. You're going to make it. Once you realize those things, then you can kind of move to the next phase of setting up your temporary shelter, heat source, those sorts of things, and then start kind of being proactive about next steps of getting yourself out of there.
Now, what happens if, and I know this is a hope it never happens type of scenario, but you're out, maybe you're walking in one of the burned areas, and it starts to snow, and of course that ash gets really, really slick, and you fall and you hurt yourself, and you're wondering how in the world you're going to get out of there. What's the best course of action then?
Yeah, so if you do get injured out there, and if you have someone else with you, in most cases it makes sense for them to get you comfortable, to make sure you're going to be warm, going to have some shelter, and then them to leave and go get help, because that's going to get you the help you need sooner rather than later. If you're by yourself, then you're going to kind of have to evaluate the specifics of that situation. In most cases, getting out and getting towards help is going to be what you need to do, realizing that could be difficult depending on the injury, but you want to have certain things with you. Make sure you have that first aid kit with you. Just a basic first aid kit is going to have most of the things you need to attend to those injuries. If you don't have first aid training, try to get some of that and make that a priority, realizing you can't get that done in a couple days necessarily, but there are a lot of good short courses online that you can do, and if you have those supplies, you have that knowledge, then in most cases you're going to be able to take care of those situations.